Welcome in. I am the Crypto Bull God, and this is All in the Charts. If you appreciate the content, make sure to hit the thumbs up button. Drop me a comment. You got to click that bell icon for all notifications to know when I go live each and every single weekday on the YouTubes. Oof. Let's fucking go. The market is looking pretty decent today. Please look at any miner. Bought 120 February 16 calls, open for a massive move. Brother, if we don't get to it today, tomorrow, Tuesdays and Thursdays, I'm structuring the live stream to be TA Q&A. So if we have time, we'll check it out at the end of the live stream. But oof, let's go. Black oil is in the house. Jay Casper with a new partner, Hello Labs, and recently statement came out about, I haven't really been following it, but apparently something about a bankruptcy of one of their partners or something. Charts tell the story, so we'll take a look at it. We'll take a look at the Casper chart, and I'll give you my honest opinion like I always do. Have you ever felt regret after not buying Jesus? Now you can get in at a discount. Erica, I'm unfamiliar with Jesus token. Is there a token called Jesus? You're the first person to come on this live stream and share that with me. Welcome in, Juan. Good to see you. Is DT in the house? DT, I'm calling you out. Are you in the house? You having that morning cup of cafe there? All right, guys. I hope everyone here had a nice weekend and getting their week off to a good start. Fun fact, if you really want to piss me off and you want to... I'm not saying this is necessarily about myself. This is perhaps about another individual that I know, and I'm sharing a story and living through this person. Micromanage me and see how far things get. That would be a huge pet peeve of mine if I, per se was working for somebody and they were micromanaging me. That might piss me off. That might piss me off a lot. Trying to put myself in the shoes of this other person who is telling me. In fact, if I was micromanaged so much, might cause me to look for another job. What's up, Evan? Good to see you. Guys, we have an exorbitantly low number of engagement on the likes, guys. Loving the comments, but the likes are horrendously terrible right now. Please help a brother out. Help a crypto brother out. Oof. Hey, man, I might get in the rental property business. Never know. Anyway, I hope everyone had a really nice weekend in all seriousness, and your week is getting off to a good start. I was watching, for those who know Koosh, he had invited me to a Twitter Spaces last Friday evening. I did not attend live, but I was watching it in syndication, and you have to be a complete moron. There was someone who came on and said, and I quote, I'll paraphrase, and thank you for the engagement, guys. I see the likes are going up. And I quote, the paraphrase, the weekly chart looks like shit. If you're following anyone, by the way, if you're following anyone that says the weekly chart on Bitcoin looks like shit, do yourself a favor and unfollow them. This chart does not look like shit. I don't know what that guy was smoking, but I do not want to partake in any of it. Okay, let's get you caught up on current price action. I wanted to speak to how the weekly closed out because we did talk about that Dragonfly Doji, which is now formed into a hammer candlestick. So we're going to take a look at that. What's going on in the 12-hour? Now, if you guys recall and you've been paying particular attention to what I've been sharing, I said I want to see daily closes above $43,000, right? It was roughly that $43,000 area. Now, the way this works is we need this 12-hour candle to close above the 50 simple moving average. We need to close right up here around $43,000. Because that would signify if we go to the daily, this is the last 12-hour candle on the daily. So that would also signify getting above the 50 simple moving average on the daily. Now, the confirming candle is not this candlestick. A confirming candlestick is the preceding candlestick. So we not only need to close above $43,000 today, I want to see us get back above $43,000 on a candle closing basis tomorrow. Now, what does that mean? That means tomorrow, let's say hypothetically, if we close at 43,000 on the dot today, we could have a wick all the way down to 42,000, realistically, 41,800. And then we could close all the way back up here above 43,000. I don't care about the price wick. That's volatility. Just get me a close above $43,000. If we can get that confirmation of closes above $43,000, at or above $43,000, I think we are significantly increasing the likelihood that we're going to see continued momentum to the upside. Okay? That's what I would keep an eye on the lower time frames. But let's take a look at what this. Let's take a look at this garbage chart, this shit chart on the weekly, because apparently this is looking like a lot of shit, which I don't agree with. So one of the things that I spoke to on Friday was a confliction, right? On the 2-week, we got this gravestone doji. Now on the weekly, this isn't really a dragonfly doji. This candlestick, if we want to get technical, I guess we'd have to get really textbook with it. It doesn't really matter. It's either a hammer. It's actually closer to a green doji, but it's somewhere in between a green hammer candlestick and a green dragonfly doji. Either way, okay, we don't need to get textbook about it. Either way, this candlestick is a trend reversal, a sign of a trend reversal to the upside. So we have conflicting statements here. Trend reversal to the downside on the 2-week, trend reversal back to the upside. So it's going to be very interesting to see how this pans out. Now let's take a look at the relative strength index. What I like to see on the relative strength index, you can see we've had this negative divergence, right? Where even though price was moving higher, you can see we were moving higher here. The RSI, sorry about that. The RSI was coming in with these lower highs, right? So what I like to see within this relative strength index is we've begun to negate the descending resistance. Ultimately, though, what we need to do, most importantly, let's get back above 70, okay? Get back above 70. And then we have an area of resistance right here. We're going to call it 75 and 75, 76, right? So in order to truly begin to negate the lower highs on the relative strength index, you want to see a candle body print on the weekly that results in an RSI that is above, I would just say 76. Let's just make it simple and say 76. That is ultimately what would leave me feeling confident that we are negating the negative divergence, right? And then we start to come up like this. Of course, once we get into the 90 to 95 area, that's typically a topping zone, which we can talk about later. But that's good to see on the relative strength index. We had a really solid close on Sunday, okay? We closed out, remember what I told you guys, we closed out at above 42,000, 42,026, and I think I said, hey, let's just close around 41,000. I think I said 700 and above, and we did. So we had a really good close on Sunday. There wasn't anything crazy going on. So I didn't come out here and chart on Sunday, although I was actually 50-50 on it. I was thinking about live streaming on Sunday, and then I was like, nah, I need a little bit of a break. Now, the one thing I do want to see turn around in this chart, I don't like to see that the stochastic RSI is all the way down here below 20. Your trigger line on the stochastic RSI is 20, okay? So ideally, we like to stay above that 20 trigger line. Let's take a recent look back in time and see if we can discern anything. Now, there's no one price indicator that tells you with certainty what's going to happen, but let's look at the times that we've gotten a little overheated on the stochastic RSI. I didn't do this ahead of the live stream, and the times we've gone below 20. So here, we went below 20. We were right here in price. So we stagnated for a few weeks and then rode this thing right back up after we crossed 20, okay? Here we went below 20 right here. On this candlestick, we had a sharp rise up in price, okay? We came up from, 25,000 up to 32,000, consolidated, and went back up. You can see the stochastic RSI crossed above 20. So here we were oversold. below 20. That's where we were here. Again, had to cross a back above 20, and then we had our monumental rise in price. So this could be telling us, as much as we don't want to see the stochastic RSI go below 20, what it could also be telling us based on recent history that we just looked at is price is just recharging right now. The key is, and what we want to look for in the coming weeks, which I believe we will see in the month of February here, is we want to see this stochastic RSI cross back above 20. Once we start getting that positive cross, some of this is also going to clear up on the RSI. You can expect we're going to see some sort of move to the upside. Again, I'm leaning towards the next few weeks sort of consolidating in price, nothing monumental. I believe we will definitively, and I have it kind of sketched out here actually. Of course, you know, the more I look at this chart, the more I realize I should have done this, really. But regardless, I'm not going to change what I have written here or drawn here. Regardless, what I am showing here, and nothing has changed for me, is I am leaning towards this key $52,000 area breaking and holding the break sometime during the month of March. So we'll have to see if that pans out. What else did, we have a big monthly close, by the way, coming on Wednesday. So just keep an eye out for that. Josh, let's fucking go! I just saw you, brother. Evan, welcome in, my friend. Guys, one chart we haven't looked at in a while. Apologies. I was on a call at work that went over, and I didn't have time to do as much prep for the live stream. But I wanted to look at this chart with you guys. Do you remember, if you've been on this channel for a little while, look at that, it's holding up really well. Do you remember me sharing this chart? This is a 3-day chart, and this is one of those value-added charts I feel that I've added to the community that no one else has spoken about. It's actually really easy. It's very straightforward. It's one time frame, and it's one moving average, okay? Black oil. Man, the super chats are always appreciated. Thank you, my friend. One chart, one moving average. Okay, that's all we're going to focus on. This is a 3-day chart. It's the 125 simple moving average. Now, how did I come up with the 125 simple moving average? Very simple. I'm a nerd. Okay, first and foremost, I am a nerd. And I love to spend a lot of time in front of my computer charting. Okay, that is step number 1 to coming up with a value-added chart. Step number 2 is just not overthinking things and trying to think of something, I don't know, I guess you could say creative, but 2 common moving averages that people will look at is the 200 and the 50. These are very common simple moving averages that any chartist will look at. And I thought to myself, well, what if we just sort of took those 2 moving averages and looked at the midpoint, right? And we looked at the 125 simple moving average. You take 250 divided by 2. You add those 2 together, it's 250. Divided by 2, you get 125, right? So then I started looking at that simple moving average on different time frames. And what stuck out to me was the 3-day chart. The 3-day chart. And I have a video published on my YouTube channel you can check out. Every single time, we have gotten below here with a candle body close. That is the critical thing, not a price wick. With a candle body close, we spend a significant amount of time under here. Beer virus was sharper, but still we were under there for a decent amount of time. Significant amount of time under there. You can see once we got the candle body close back in 2022, we tried to pop our head back above it here. Never got a candle body close above that moving average. Never did. We could not get back above it, and you can see we just continue to move down, right? Now, what happens after we've spent a considerable amount of time below the moving average? You can see that once we get a candle body close back above it, okay, we need a candle body close back above it, significant move up. Candle body close back above it, significant move up. Candle body close back above it, significant move up. Candle body close above it, we're in a significant move up. Now, the other thing that I took a look at, just trying to, again, I was just talking about this at work, actually. I encouraged a couple actuarial students who I was on the phone with. Apparently, this is the first company I ever worked for. Apparently, you know what? Apparently, at the organization I work at right now, saying actuarial students is not a good thing. For nearly 20 years of my career, we've all called each other actuarial students, but not here. Can't say actuarial students. Apparently, that's degrading, so we don't say that. Makes no sense. Makes absolutely no sense. But anyway, I was on the phone with a couple students, and one of the things I shared with them was that they should, trying to find the right chart, they should come up with they should find some data points. They should go out, find some data sources, and try to find some credible sources and have those data sources converge in on even a range of something we were looking at, right? Just go out there, do some basic Google searches. What's up, Frankie? Good to see you, brother. And try to converge in on just even a range for the probability of something we're looking at, right? It's the same thing when I'm trying to hypothetically come up with where Bitcoin could have a blow off top. And you know, if you've been paying very close attention to what I've been saying, I've been coming up with a blow-off top estimate. Nobody knows, but it's fun to try to come up with creative ways to come up with it. Right around $130,000. If I could pick a sweet spot, real narrow sweet spot, it'd be between 120 and 130. If I made it wider, it'd be between 90 and 150. Okay, 90 to 180. Okay, I'd make it much wider. But if I had to pick a really narrow range, I'd say right in that 120, 130 range. And another chart that gives some price confluence to the notion that we could see something around $130,000 is this chart. So when looking at the price multiples, once we reconfirmed bullishness on this chart, which was a candle body close above the 125, after we spent significant time below it, you can see we had a 94x, 2.5x, 8.1x. Well, given where we're at in the cycle, and the market cap of Bitcoin, I discounted the 94. I'm not even going to consider that as a price multiple because you wouldn't be operating within the realm of reality, okay? Instead, what I did was I said, okay, I think a 2.5x is realistic. I think an 8.1x is realistic. I will pick the midpoint. Again, it's just the midpoint is synonymous with average. So if you take 2.5 and you add it on top of 8.1, you get 10.6. If you take 10.6 and you divide it by 2, you get 5.3. So a 5.3 multiple would put us right up at $130,000. So it'll be very interesting to see how this plays out. Timing is, as I always say to you guys, timing is always the most challenging thing. I never run or hide from any of the calls that I've had. Originally, when I came out here and stated my hypothesis surrounding the timing of the Bitcoin top, because of how I view this Elliott wave structure and how I view this as ultimately being the all-time high, but not an impulsive top, but part of a giant correction, my view was that we were going to see a blow-off top near the end of 2023. Never happened, right? So some people will say I moved the goalpost, which I do not view it that way. With emerging price data comes the realization that you need to change your view on things, right? So still leaning towards the first half of this year, but I could definitely see it going late into 2024, if not very early 2025. And some of the and maybe we'll get into a discussion about this. Welcome in, Antonio. Good to see you. Maybe we'll dedicate an entire live stream to this, or, I brought back the CBG podcast. Maybe I'll dedicate a podcast to this. Maybe I'll dedicate when a guest comes back on the channel, because I do want to start that back up. We'll have a discussion about this, but something I've spent a lot of time trying my best to understand is the everything code. If you know Raul Paul from Real Vision, I've spent a considerable amount of time listening to him and his insights and views on interest rates, interest rate cycles, interest rate cuts, things like that. There are also, without naming names, there are also some technical analysts whose opinions I respect, whether I agree or disagree with them at various points, who do have some compelling views that would indicate that it's possible that we may not have a blow off top until early 2025. Still ahead of this 4-year cycle thing. We're not topping at the end of 2025, but something that could run late 24, early 25. And so I want to make sure I'm being open to that. And the most important thing, and I'll continue to say this, and I will get a video out, what are you using to determine, to tell you that Bitcoin is topping? Like, what are you actually looking at, right? So I'm going to share with you the 5 things. I want to come up with no more than 5. I want to go to a handful of things, keep it stupid simple. What is telling me that Bitcoin is topping? And that should tell us that all coins are going to be topping fairly soon thereafter. So something to come up with. But it'll be really interesting to see how this pans out. Could we hit something as high as $120,000 or $130,000 as late as July, or excuse me, as early as July? Could this go all the way out into March of 25? Could I be incorrect with my main hypothesis? We'll have to see. But the important thing is that you stay level-headed, grounded, unemotional. You consider alternative viewpoints of people whose opinions you respect at times, whether you agree or disagree with them. It's very, very important. You can't operate in a silo environment. And unless something substantially changes about the facts of what you're evaluating, you stick to your plan, and you have a plan in place. Okay. I am planning on, I will say this, I didn't really want to get into indicators I'm using, but yes, Pi Cycle is going to be in there, Frankie. Pi Cycle will be one of the things that I look at. Let's take a look at Bitcoin dominance real quick. We'll get into a few other charts. Probably be good to look at total market cap as well. All right, I saw somewhat of a rising channel here that we broke below. We've re-entered the channel. Of course, depending what time frame you look at this on, yeah, we're re-entering the channel. So what this is telling me, what this is telling me is, now again, this is Bitcoin dominance, right? Typically at this stage, when there's a massive drop in dominance, what that's telling you is your altcoins are running real hard against Bitcoin, right? Vice versa, if we start to see a really big uptick here, that's telling you Bitcoin's outperforming the alts, and especially at these levels, you can expect some massive drop at some point. Now, what is this chart telling me at the moment? Let's talk about what we were looking at last week and what we're looking at this week. Okay. So last week when we evaluated the Bitcoin dominance chart, this weekly candlestick had not printed. Okay? This one here. We had fallen out of the rising channel. The RSI, okay, had broken the ascending channel here, which was critical. And I said what I anticipate, you can go back and spot check me on this. I anticipate that the RSI is going to struggle to get back above here. Okay, now it's going to act as resistance. You can see it did right here. I think that either Bitcoin dominance is going to continue to bleed down and we're not going to get above this ascending line. Okay, or we're going to get one final push up into this yellow box and then roll over. Now that we've re-entered the ascending channel here, okay, I think there is a higher probability that we could get some sort of a final push up in Bitcoin dominance. Welcome in, Kyle. Good to see you, my friend. We could see one quick push up in dominance, okay? I've had this 58 area targeted. Maybe we go as high as 58. Maybe we hit the top up here just shy at 57. Whatever the case is, I think we build in some negative divergence on the RSI here, and it's possible, although I find it very doubtful, that we're going to get in this area again. This is typically a topping RSI zone in the Bitcoin dominance. I don't think the RSI is going to get that high. I think what you're going to see is one final push up on the price chart, and I think the relative strength index is really going to struggle to get back above here and it's just going to continue rolling over as your alts are going to start running. Now, when could I start seeing the really... Let's hypothesize in terms of what's going on with price action and what, at the same time, what would be going on with your altcoins and Bitcoin dominance, okay? So how could this actually play out? How could I see this playing out? Well, the way I could see this playing out is something I have spoken to in the past. Let's keep in mind what my relative expectations are. Now, in the month of February, if we really do start to see this push above $50,000, right? We're above 48.50, and you can see we're stalling out at 52 here, and we don't really start to get up above it and close above it in March. This is sort of what I'm guesstimating here, right? In this range here, in the month of February, if we really do start to see Bitcoin at $50,000 and above, I think that's going to add a lot of excitement, initial excitement, into the market. I think there will be renewed confidence in the market, and I think there will be capital flowing into your altcoins. So as Bitcoin is pushing up here, I think what you could see is a temporary rise in dominance as that's happening because Bitcoin's making a big move, right? But then altcoins, then your RSI is going to come up here, but then we're going to roll over, okay? And then altcoins are going to begin to steal the show, okay? And maybe we level out on dominance. I don't know. We have an area of support down here at about 48.7. Maybe we could go as low as 47. I don't know. But that's in general what I expect. Now, the biggest push of all, be interesting actually. I'm going to go back in the price chart. I haven't looked at this in a while. But the biggest push you're going to see on altcoins is when Bitcoin starts to break its all-time high. And I've said this before. So you're not going to see that massive surge into altcoins until Bitcoin gets above at and above, let's just call it $70,000. Prior all-time high was $69,000, but let's just call it $70,000 and round up and keep it easy. What I wanted to see is the last time, this is the 20,000. Well, we were in mid-December. Where was dominance? Okay, see how... So I want you to keep in mind what happened here. Now, this was back at the end of 2020 going into 2021. This is when Bitcoin broke its all-time high in USD value. Look what happened to dominance. We peaked out very shortly after. So the story that could be told within the charts, if you had a storyteller, it's me. The way I would narrate this story is just as all the excitement is coming into the Bitcoin chart, right? Just as all the excitement is coming into the Bitcoin chart and we're breaking prior all-time highs, look, USD value is still going up. We went from 20,000 up to 64, okay? It more than tripled in value. Okay, well, why in the same time period did dominance do this? Why was it a giant waterfall? Why did Bitcoin dominance go down so much? The reason that Bitcoin dominance went down so much, this is a very critical point that you need to understand. Dominance, Bitcoin dominance, all it does is represent the percentage of the market capitalization that Bitcoin occupies. Well, if the Bitcoin USD value, and Bitcoin's the biggest crypto out there, if the USD value is going up, theoretically, its market cap, think of it this way, a 1, 2, 3% move in Bitcoin based on its market cap, it could be the equivalent of a 300% move in some of the altcoins because you're weighting it based on market cap. A 1 to 3% move in Bitcoin could be the equivalent market capitalization rate-wise of a 300% move or more in altcoins, right? So if that is making sense to you, then what it should tell you is that even though the USD value was going up this entire time and we tripled in value for Bitcoin, the altcoins were running so fucking hard. They were running so hard and outperforming Bitcoin and left it in the dust. And this is where you start to get altcoins like this. Altcoins like this, altcoins like this, altcoins like this, altcoins like this, altcoins like this. They just start shooting off, all of them. A rising tide lifts all boats, okay? So that's what was going on. So we'll have to see how the dominance plays out. Let me see if we got any comments in here. I wanted to get to a couple charts and update you guys on them. Before I get to those charts, actually, let me get to the comments, and then I'm going to get to the total market cap. We should take a look at that. Okay. XRP to the moon, my friend, Evan. XRP to the moon. We got a few charts I want to run down here, so let me make this quick. Very, very good. Very, very good. We have this line of support here. Remember, all I said to you guys last time we touched base before we closed out on the weekend, we're stair-stepping our way up. We have to be patient, but this is very good. We're doing a Super Mario, okay? Super Mario. We're jumping up the steps here, all right? Jumping up the platforms. I'm talking original Mario, too. Mario, Super Mario. We're riding this range right here. That's all. We're range-bound right now. We want to get above 1.8 trillion. Things are going to get very juicy once we start getting above 1.8 and in particular 2 to 2.5. That is when things are going to really start getting interesting. We're very, very healthy. MACD looks good. RSI looks great at 72. Stochastic RSI looks fine. So picture here on the total market cap looks great. Let's take a look at CASPA. This is a lower time frame. It's a little bit of a dirty chart, but you can see we're pushing up right now. We're up 3.6%. I told you guys, we want to start getting these daily closes at and above 11 cents before we can start to feel a little bit cautiously excited about price action. CASPA is one of those ones that I'm just sitting back smiling, and I'm just waiting for this thing to go off because I feel uber confident. KST no sure thing is another area indicator for price momentum. We're at historically low areas here. The MACD is trying to flatten out and curl above. Stochastic RSI is in great shape at 43 over 29. RSI is still oversold at just under 50. Guys, we're in a, let me show you the 3-day. We are in a bull flag. Wherever we break out, maybe we break out here, that's the target. I mean, the target for this bull flag is up towards 30 cents, okay? In my opinion, CASPA is going to triple very quickly, and people will be kicking themselves for not buying 9 or 10 cent CASPA. Same thing with AOS. This thing is in a massive bull pennant. Okay, this thing ran from a penny up to 20 cents. Okay, so this pulled a 20x in no time. I see a larger move coming in. You can see the target I have up here is over $2. We'll have to see if that pans out, but I could easily see, depending how when momentum comes in here and how things look, this thing could easily be well over $1 going into January, February, March. This thing could easily be $1 plus. I hate to give times. I'm going to stay away from times, but we got a bull pennant. Price is looking very, very juicy, and I've accumulated some in these range. CLORs are one of the more bullish. CLOR is one of the more bullish charts. I have this in my portfolio, and this thing is setting up beautifully. We have some great bullish divergence on the RSI on the daily. Not a lot of price data, so I'm on a low time frame. MACD's picking up. Stochastic RSI looks good. We are 30 over 28. This thing, to me, looks like a nice rounding bottom. This looks textbook. This looks like a nice rounding bottom, and we want to shoot off here. So we'll have to see. Targets for this that I'm targeting in the shorter to intermediate term here. I have a blue rectangle up here. Right here between, it looks like $1 and, what do I have? $1 and $1.60, so that's roughly, that's like a 9 to 15x from where we're at. So we'll have to see. Root is also another one that I got a little bit into. I have a very small holding in this one. It looks like this is on a 12-hour, not a lot of price data. This is something that just looks like it's literally just accumulating and trying to break right back above this area here at 8 cents. We were holding that 8 cent area for a while and lost it. Root will get interesting when you start to see daily closes. To me, it looks like 8 cents. We want to get above 8, but this area of resistance right here, if you can see this, root's going to get interesting. Actually, I would put it right there, actually. Right about here at 9.2 cents. When you wake up on your watch list, okay, when you wake up on your watch list, if root's in there and it's above 9.2 cents, start paying attention. Alchemy Pay having a really nice day today, along with Harmony One. Now, what I like to see on Alchemy, we just took a look at this one actually. Remember, I talked about 1.85 cents, and we're back above that at the moment. This is on the 3-day, okay? This MACD is trying to curl up. We want some momentum to come back in here, okay? Stochastic RSI looks decent. RSI is starting to pick up. We're still neutral at 50. But I want to see, I'm not getting really excited on Alchemy Pay until we start breaking up above 3 to 4 cents, okay? This area in here, I want to see us starting to push up into this area. Again, don't lose the perspective that we got the higher highs and higher lows on here. It's taking longer than I anticipated, but the same could be said true about many of the tokens and the market in general. So we have the higher highs and higher lows here, just need to remain patient. Casper, now let's have a conversation. Is anybody here? I'm curious. Did anyone tune in specifically because I had tweeted out today about talking about Casper? I did want to mention my thoughts here. So let's not talk about the news. Let's talk about the charts because this daily live stream is all in the charts. This is on a weekly. My first question for you is: has anything changed on the relative strength index? No. So it looks like we're still getting these higher lows on the RSI. Okay. Let me ask you another question. MACD looks fine. We don't have a negative cross yet. Stochastic RSI is still holding on to above 20. We want to try and stay above there. Let me ask you another question about this chart. Okay. Are there higher lows coming in? Low, higher low, higher low, higher low. Yes. There are. Okay. Let me ask you another question on this chart. Are there higher highs coming in? Got a high, a higher high, not a higher high. This was not a higher high. So we need to get back above 6.4 cents. So far what I see is this. Well, actually, if I had to draw what I am seeing, we got a low, a high, a higher low, a higher high, a higher low, and now we're waiting for another higher high to come in. Yes, price on Casper is disappointing from the perspective that we have not picked up quicker than what I was anticipating, you know? I was hopeful we would have been all the way up here north of 6.4 cents at this time. But you could pull up 5, 6, 7, 8 other charts, and I would have similar comments that, yeah, this is taking a little bit longer. Digibytes, yeah, it's taking longer. Alchemy Pay, yeah, it's taking longer. H-bar, yeah, it's taking a little bit longer. Mana, it's taking a little bit longer. So what I would say is structurally, nothing has fallen apart in the chart and nothing looks bad. In fact, if we draw the ascending line a little bit differently, remember, the key to drawing an ascending line is you just want to make sure that when you're drawing it, you can have candle wicks, you can have candle bodies touching on this line of support here, this blue line, see the blue line? You can have all that. You can't do this because now you got candle bodies going through the line. You can't, that's invalid. If you're following anyone doing technical analysis like that, they don't know technical analysis. Immediately unfollow them. That is not financial advice. That's having common sense advice. So we can draw this a little bit more aggressive, not be as conservative, or not be as liberal, excuse me. We could draw it like this. And I bet you if we put this on a 2-week, it's going to illustrate a point for you. I'm hoping, because I didn't draw this out before the live stream. Okay, it didn't perfectly touch. I was going to say, I thought this wick would have come down and perfectly touch. But the whole point is, you can see we have a touch here, we have a touch here, we have touches here. This almost came down and touched here. I don't care this week if we come down to this level. Where would I get concerned on Casper? So to answer the question, for those who tuned in today, because they did want my feedback on the chart, there's nothing concerning on the chart for me. There is not. Now, when would I start getting concerned? I'll tell you when I would start getting concerned. If we get candle body closes that begin to take out this higher low and then this higher low. So again, if we get a wick that comes in and comes all the way down to 2.9 cents, which is this candlestick here, okay, that's 2.9 cents, right? If this week or next week we get a candle, we get volatility and we come all the way down to 2.9 cents, no. That's not what concerns me. What would concern me is on a weekly candle closing basis. Really don't even want to see, quite honestly, I don't even want to see on a daily for it to close. But since we're looking at the weekly, I do not want to start seeing weekly closes at 2.9 cents or below. Now the chart's starting to truly get weak, okay? And even though this is on a weekly, and I would say those comments apply to the weekly, I don't even want to see Casper closing a daily candlestick under 2.9 cents. Because for me, even if it's on the daily, I'm going to draw it like this. Even if it's on the daily, okay, that we start closing below 2.9 cents, then to me, those are some warning flags, okay? We should be staying above this relative level at 3.2 cents on a closing basis, okay? But the key thing on the weekly is this low, this higher low right here, this candlestick, okay? We need to stay above it because it's just basic TA. It's not my emotions. We've created higher lows this entire time. We don't want to begin to invalidate that. So 2.9 cents is what you want to be honed in on. Let's just stay above 3 cents. Let's stay above 3 cents. Definitely some weakness in the price. I agree with you, but nothing structurally in the chart has broken. Okay? Hopefully that is clear. One more chart I wanted to take a look at, which I didn't think I'd be taking a look at with you guys, and it may deserve a TA video very soon. Flare. Flare, which is exhibiting more strength than Casper at the moment. It's had some renewed vigor in the market, and you can see we've continued to step up. Look at this thing. We've continued just flowing up. Okay. Now, once we start getting above 2. Why do I see 2.9? There's not a lot of price confluence, right? That's when things are going to get interesting. You talk about V-shaped recovery. It would be very bullish if and when we get above, on a candle body closing basis, 2.9 cents on Flare, ticker symbol FLR. Now, rightfully so, guys. Rightfully so. I have taken a shit on Flare because Flare took a shit on us, okay? So I was rightfully laughing at this chart, okay, when it was doing this. This looked like a steaming hot pile of doggy poop, okay? I was absolutely correct to laugh at this chart. But right now, and I said until, I know there had to have been at least one live stream where I said it, until proven otherwise, this chart is hot garbage, okay? Well, it's proving otherwise right now. We're having a nice V-shaped recovery. There was nothing in this chart. Let's see if there's bullish divergence. There's not. There's nothing in this chart that would have... well, actually, the 3-day relative strength index was higher here than here. But still, this is one of those things where you don't want to buy a falling knife, right? You got to wait for a true trend reversal before you would ever consider hopping in. But right now, the chart looks really good. I mean, if we just focus on this price data, this is a stair-step function. Just like what you guys learned about in algebra. You remember college algebra? All of you guys loved algebra. I loved algebra. Calculus was super easy because calculus was simply algebra with rules. That's all it was. My favorite math class was, I think I shared this with you, my favorite math class was Calculus 2 because it was all formula driven. Integrals, derivatives. Integrals are antiderivatives. So derivatives, integrals. I loved integrals. I got high on integrals, man. I'd stay in on Saturday night doing integrals for homework. Like I fucking loved integrals. Now I'm not bullshitting you. I was a nerd. Like, I was a very big nerd back in the day, and not that has changed. Don't let this make you think that at heart I am not the biggest nerd that you know. Okay, because it is true. I'll probably watch some Star Trek: The Next Generation this evening. All right. Yeah, but this chart, it's turning around. It's turning around. So I think once we definitively start pushing above 2.9 cents, more than likely I'll get a video out to the Flare community and we can talk about price. Looks good. Track, good to see you in here, brother. Guys, we're pushing up against time here. We've been on for 45 minutes. I'm trying to cut these live streams by 6. So be back tomorrow. Thank you for the engagement, by the way. Great engagement today. I hope, again, everybody had a good weekend, and I hope you can join me tomorrow because tomorrow, real quick, before you sign off, Tuesdays, Thursdays, okay? Those days are going to be dedicated to live TA Q&A. So bring your technical analysis questions tomorrow. It's all about you guys. Now, obviously, if there's significant developments within the chart, we're going to talk about it, but I'm dedicating Tuesdays and Thursdays specifically to your TA questions. So until next time, which will be tomorrow at approximately 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Until next time, everybody, let's all spread awareness and let's carry the education forward. Take care, everybody. Good engagement. Appreciate it.